Hey, what's up guys? This is Ethan, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about exactly how I improve HVAC companies and help them grow using the theory of constraints. So I almost never hear anybody talking about this, and this is the system that I personally use when I work with HVAC companies to help them grow their business and ultimately relieve the constraints that stop them from hitting their revenue goals. So I'm going to jump into a quick presentation and show you exactly how it works. Okay, let's go ahead and jump in and I'll show you exactly how you can use the theory of constraints inside of your HVAC company. So, why should you even care about the theory of constraints to begin with? Well, the main overview is that the goal of a business is to make money. Obviously, we care about helping the community and serving our customers, but at the end of the day, the goal of any business is to generate cash. And if your goal is to increase the output of a system, how much money the company makes, the best approach in my opinion is to apply the theory of constraints. So I'm not trying to tell you guys that this is the only way or you need to do this, but in my opinion this is the way that I like to approach it. I think it makes the most sense, and the reason why I think it's valuable and important is because it lets you implement a strategic approach to solving problems in your business instead of just trying a bunch of things and hoping that one of them works out. And not only that, it lets you understand what's going on, and then when you make changes, you can actually see the outcome of what's going on. So I'll show you real quick the steps of how this works so you can get an overview before I show you the diagram. So step one is we actually draw the business as a pipeline, and you'll see that over here. And then step two is we get the important data we need. In some cases, it's only around 5 or 6 metrics. In other cases, we can get a little bit more advanced and we can map out like 13 metrics. But the whole goal is not to spend a bunch of time drawing a bunch of fancy things and wasting time. The goal is to quickly identify the constraint based on real, actual data that we verify. And then we're going to solve the problem of that business and solve that constraint. Oftentimes, I like to do it by using AI and automation-based systems. And the reason why I like to do this is because we can solve the problem by building a system that runs forever without you constantly having to try to fix it over and over again. So, step one is to draw the business as a pipeline. So, imagine this pipeline as a representation of your entire company, your entire HVAC company. So, we have an input and an output. The input is the number of leads, and the output is the amount of dollars that come out. So all we're really trying to do is figure out how do we either get more leads in and get more output out. And there's something inside of this system, inside of this pipeline, that's currently preventing your business from hitting the output goal that you have. So we want to map it out and get the data before we start doing things, because we want to figure out, is one of these stages significantly constraining the entire output? Oftentimes when I look at HVAC companies and I start talking to the owners, there's usually one thing that's actually bottlenecking the output of this entire system. In some cases, they just don't have enough leads coming in, and all these metrics are super high, and they just need to get more leads. But from what I've seen, a lot of companies are not in that situation. A lot of companies have a lot of leads, and they have enough capacity of technicians, but something else is constraining it. So let's quickly look at the variables I think would be important, just in a general sense. So the total number of leads coming in, the percentage of answered calls and the percentage of booked calls, the percentage of successful appointments. You booked them and you showed up and they were there, and then the average value per per job, the percentage of appointments closed, so how many, the booking rate and closing rate as separate metrics, the percentage of customers that left a review, and the percentage of customers that signed up for a maintenance or a membership plan, depending on how your company does it. But almost all the HVAC companies I know sell some sort of monthly plan where they get like 2 or sometimes 3 checks per year, and sometimes they get a little bit more bonuses than that for some companies. So what we have to do is draw this and then get the data and figure it out. So a lot of times what I'm seeing in HVAC companies is they're getting a high number of leads in. So they're getting like 100 leads a month that are coming in, which is a pretty decent amount. But then what's happening is the percentage of answered calls is actually really low, which is why a lot of times I want to build AI voice agents for HVAC companies, especially after hours and on the weekend. Because when we pull the data, what I'm seeing a lot is they have all these calls and web forms coming in, but a lot of those calls are literally getting missed. So, I mean, simply just answering every single call will definitely increase the output of the system. If you have 100 leads coming in per month, but you're only answering 60% of the calls, you already have a constraint in increasing the throughput of the overall system. Another very frequent example I see is a percentage of reviews that are left. And obviously, almost every single HVAC owner understands that your Google business profile is usually the main way that you get leads, and where you rank in your local area is critically important for how many people go to you and find you and discover you, especially during the busy season. So if we pull the data for your company and we draw out the pipeline and we figure out that you're only getting 20% of people to leave a review, well, there's a few ways we can solve that, and that's kind of where these steps come in. So once we've identified that constraint, if we've identified that the constraint is the number of reviews you're getting per month, we can build an AI automation system to solve it. So with reviews, for example, if you're getting a very small percentage of reviews, we can build an automated system that compliantly and legally texts homeowners 2 times to ask them for a review after every single job. And the reason why I think this is a good idea is because you can have weekly meetings and you can tell the techs that work for you that they need to ask every homeowner for a review, but the reality is life is just messy. They're going to forget, they're going to get too busy, sometimes they just might not do it, and in my opinion, it's far better to build a system one time that works every time no matter what, because it's programmatically designed to work, in comparison to asking the technicians over and over again to ask every customer for a review. So, this is kind of how I apply the theory of constraints to HVAC companies in a way that makes sense, is simple and practical and effective. So the key principle that I want to convey in this video is from the book The Goal, which is where I learned about this concept. The book The Goal by Eli Goldratt is about the theory of constraints and how it applies to manufacturing businesses and factories. So what they found in looking at all these factories and all these different businesses is that if you expend time working on something that is not the constraint, it actually produces a very, very minimal impact on the overall throughput, the overall outcome of what you're getting out of that system. So a lot of HVAC companies that I've seen, they're working super hard and they're trying really hard to grow their business, but they're spending a lot of time working on all these different things that are not the constraint. And it turns out that the outcome of that labor is actually very small. If you identify the constraint, identify a way to solve it, and spend your energy and time and money on relieving that constraint, you will get immense growth and outcomes produced through that system in comparison to just trying a lot of different things. So just wanted to show you guys my thought process on how I help out HVAC companies. My company, Panda AI Systems, we build AI systems for companies, and we also do AI consulting. And this is the exact process that we use to help HVAC companies and help the owners reach their goals. This isn't made to be a hard pitch, but I wanted to give you guys as much value as possible. And you guys can apply this to your business. And if you need any help, or you want someone to help you get the data, build a pipeline, find the constraint, and build a solution, I'd love to help you out. You can fill out the form on our website, and we do free 15-minute calls where we'll just give you as much value as you can. So Hope this video helped, and I'm going to start working on a video series for you guys on how to build AI and automation projects for yourself. So if you want to do this completely on your own and you don't want to hire a consultant, I'm going to be making a series of videos on exactly how to build these systems. So if you want to take the time to build it on your own, you definitely can. With a little bit of work and spending some time learning the skill, you can do it on your own too. So hope you got a lot of value from this video, and thanks for watching.